Alright, here is a jungle replay review for this Rammus here. I don't see his name. Um, Some Bacon is his name. Bronze 1, Rammus Jungle. And first taking a look at runes and masteries. So it looks like you've got all attack damage runes. Um, I'm not a huge fan of all attack damage on almost any champion. I think it's better to do attack speed in the jungle. Sometimes top laners like to do armor pen, or just maybe even tanky stats for like your quints. But um, I'm just not a big fan of. I would rather see attack speed quints in the jungle because it's a lot more efficient for the DPSing, especially because Rammus gets natural AD from his passive. You might as well have attack speed. So I'd replace these with attack speed. Mastery tree looks okay. Tanky supportive junglers like to go 12 points in cunning, and I think that's fine. The heals here are nice. The heals here are nice. I mean, it's fine. The tree looks okay. I personally like going recovery. Well, no, actually, unyielding on a full tank is good. But I definitely like explorer on Rammus. He doesn't really need this. Uh, I just like this. I like it a lot. And you should definitely. I think runic armor on any jungler is really strong because you're healing so much in the jungle. Most junglers, I take all left tree here, and then Strength of the Ages, and that's something you should definitely take here. Grasp of the Undying is terrible in the jungle because you almost never get to proc it, except maybe once on a gank, but Strength of the Ages is just so much better in the jungle. Skill order up here looks fine. Build order up here looks okay. So let's go ahead and get into the game. Okay, as the game is beginning to play out, let me turn down the sound a little bit. Your support popped this ward, which is a decent ward, but you don't have anyone covering this entrance here. So either ask Azir, can you stand and cover this bush, or what I do most of the time as a jungler is I just ward this. Um, it's a shame to waste the first minute and a half doing nothing when you can at least get defensive vision up. So I think you should get defensive vision up. Um, Standing. Oh, okay. Jungling is all about keeping up the pace, and even that 5 seconds standing there, don't know why you did it. You got to keep up the pace. So that was. You're doing it again. I'm not sure what this is for. If you don't have Powerball up before the camp spawn, or before you get to the camp, that's fine. Just activate it mid-camp. Powerball really isn't that much damage anyway. Anyway, just try and keep up the pace a little bit better. In my opinion, this word here is kind of useless. You should put it here because it pretty much covers everything. I would have stuck the word here. You're going to get pretty low off of these wraiths. I think you can handle it though, because you had smite. Okay. All in all, you went for kind of the best clear that Rammus can get, and I think that's okay. I think if you had attack speed runes, you would have been more healthy on your clear, and I think that would have made a big difference. So the enemy team got first blood on you. So you're calling to gank this, but she's full, and all you have is like a melee jungler, a melee support, and none of you have combat stats. You went for smite first, which is okay because it helps with the gank. But ultimately, this is a waste of you. You passed 3 camps in exchange for a gank that's not going to happen. Before you started pinging to this gank, I was kind of commenting, okay, your Vayne died, your Ashe died, Vayne got first blood, that sucks a lot, but the lane actually looks pretty even. 26 to 27 CS means that Ashe isn't really losing. There might have just been some kind of like sour mistake, bad trade. So that lane is safe to ignore. Let the lane reset. Try and gank when Ashe is back. But what you're doing now is you're probably not even going to get a flash. But another problem with failing a gank, it's not just like, okay, so there's 3 big problems with failing a gank. Problem number 1, you're not accomplishing anything. You're not farming. Problem 2 is it often actually gives the enemy laner the lane advantage if you fail a gank, because you attack them, all of these minions here start attacking you, and your minions attack them and kind of kill their minions for free. So that it's kind of a small problem, but it's enough of a problem. The third problem, though, is that the enemy team now knows where you are. Riven's being hella aggressive on Yasuo, and she should be, because she's got a favorable first 10 minutes of the game or so. And if a good Riven player is always looking for the enemy jungler, because a good Riven player can kill anyone from half HP if she's safe to do it. So since you showed up on the bottom of the map, as soon as you pop out of this bush, this Riven knows she can kill Yasuo. So the job of a jungler is not only to gank, but it's also to threaten a gank. If you're in the fog of war, you're by default threatening a gank, and the enemy team has to play a little bit more passively because of it. Once you show up bottom, she can get a free kill if she's good onto Yasuo. So I don't like this Vayne gank, because you don't have a damage carry to do anything. And you died. See, not only was it a 2v2, but it was 2 melees versus 2 ranged. So exactly what should have happened, which is you got kited to oblivion. So now you took what would have been a bad lane for Ashe, but a doable lane for Ashe, into a really bad lane for Ashe, because Vayne's able to get a full cutlass, whereas Ashe has almost no items at all. So that not only was it a mistake, not only did you not get farm, not only did Riven up top know that Yasuo, or know that you were gone, but you died because it was an unfavorable 2v2, and LSR burned flash. So try and plan your jungle route accordingly. And if it's don't force these hero mode ganks. That's not how you climb. That's what you do if you're desperate and you have no other choice. But what you do to climb is find the lane with the most favorable gank and go for it. And a 1v2 is never a favorable gank. The point of the jungler is he's supposed to add a one-man advantage to a lane. So if you look, top lane, you can't really gank this because it's a big wave, but you can in about a minute. So what I would do is I would get some vision up in their jungle, get some vision around, and try and camp top, because Riven is Riven. You came back to get your blue buff, and that's also acceptable. Okay, I want to, as you're walking around, I mean, first of all, you should back immediately right now. You should just go back to base. You have no business being here. Echo can kill you. Azir, if he roams, can kill you. Or who is that? Yeah, it's an Azir versus Azir. Oh, this must be a normal. You have no business being here. You could easily die. You're the weakest person on the entire map right now because your health bar. So what I was saying, so anyway, what you should have done after Gromp was back, because you had about 25% health. There was no reason to need to gank this lane. If you were going to gank, you should have already done it, but you were too low for that, so you should have gone back to base. You're going to get kited to oblivion here again. Okay, well, your support gets the double kill. That's definitely not worth it. Vayne gets an extra kill in exchange for Alistar maybe getting another one. I would say that's not worth. Alistar's not even going to get this. Yeah, he is. Okay. Anyway, all the way back to where I was. You were at Gromp, you were at 25% health, you need to back at that point. Your only option was to take this, and that was not that good of an option because it was risky. Had you backed, Rammus has such fast move speed with his Powerball, you probably, like, if you backed immediately after killing Gromp, you probably could have been here in time to actually kill Vayne. But because your health bar was so low, you tried to go for the hero mode gank, and it was that 2v2 melee versus ranged, you obviously were going to lose that. Here's the bigger point that I've been trying to make, though. Rammus is unpopular right now because his his first 10 minutes of the game are super weak. Most metagame junglers can get level 6 by about 6.5 to 7 minutes, and it's super important to be able to keep that up. Rammus can't. I love the champion, and I wish he was stronger, but he's just not because his the way that they've changed the jungle tankiness right now is he's just weaker. This is a really bad decision for you to make. So you went into this 1v1 hero mode lane against a Riven who already had 2 levels on you. Now she's got 3 levels on you. You have almost no items. She's got 2 items. So she made a mistake there and you got flashed. That's worth it, I guess. But the biggest thing that went wrong here is you have a losing bot lane and they know you're top right now. And that's a big problem. So I don't like this. Okay, that was kind of nice. I mean, you knew that she didn't have flash, so I think that was okay to go fishing for that. But the whole premise of you being top right now, I don't think is the right decision. Here's another problem. You're backing at half health, but you're Rammus and you're super fast. So what is your plan after buying? And that's something as a jungler I like to base my camp taking around what do I do after I buy. You're probably going to want to go bot lane because it's a really bad lane matchup now that Ashe is super behind. You also probably want to go bot lane because your blue buff will come up in about 1.5 minutes. And you also want to go bot lane because Dragon's down here, and so you kind of want to be on that side of the map. So every decision is saying go bot lane, but there's Krugs up here. And right now the map is relatively reset. Like, there's no pressure on the bot lane right now. Your bot lane's in base, so like there's no reason for you to get there immediately. So what I would have done is I would have just kind of taken Krugs because they're here. They're sitting there. It's 140-ish gold just sitting there for free, and it's an efficient decision that I think you should have made. Is take your Krugs and then back. So instead you're gonna back without really. You're probably not even gonna be able to finish Cinderhulk. And Krugs wouldn't have let you either, but it's still not sure what you're doing. Okay, Krugs would have let you finish Cinderhulk. Instead, probably the exact same amount of time as it would have been for you to Powerball over to Krugs and kill them. You waited in base for about 10 or 12 seconds. So you can see what I'm meaning. Like, what is your plan? So, what is your plan when you back? It's to go bot lane. So I should clear my top lane Krugs camp. And same thing, if you're gonna back and go top lane, you should probably clear your Gromp first if you have time. This is a gank that I would look to force. Now that it's finally a 2v2, Ashe has arrow, Alistar is Alistar. I would come and try and set up this gank. So Ashe at arrow right now. She doesn't because she's bad and it's bronze. Ashe still hasn't used her arrow. And ultimately you succeed in the gank. Okay, I mean, that was the right decision to make that gank, and so I like it. I don't like taking the dragon at this point. Actually, I do because Yasuo was mid, but Riven just showed up here. I would go defend her. I would go defend Azir instead of this. This is dumb. Okay, let me go back. Okay, Yasuo's mid, you're making the call for dragon, which is okay because you've got 5-man bot and their Echo's dead. I think the dragon call is okay, but your team isn't collapsing fast enough. You see Riven, and actually you saw her about 10 seconds ago on the other side of this ward. You need to get there immediately because she is strong as crap with her 1-item power spike. And this is exactly what's going to happen. Instead, you're taking this, which would have been the right call if they were trying to collapse to you, but they were not, and you should have been there to help defend them. You need to go interrupt Okay. Hopefully you are able to get this kill. You can't take dragon anymore, by the way. This Riven was able to put up enough pressure to stop you from dragoning. But what you can do is clear your camps. So, you might as well take these. Okay, they're stepping on your wards. So you know that they're dragoning. There's not a lot you can do, because you should know that Ash Arrow is down. There's 5 of them bot, even though you don't really see Echo yet. He's got to be down here, because it's their jungler and they're taking a camp. There was no reason for you to go try and stop this. Where the heck is their freaking Echo? He's up top. That's retarded. Okay, I still don't like that because Ash didn't have arrow. Basically, your key, like your team's strengths, you didn't have them. Ash didn't have arrow. Alistar was still back here because he died earlier, or backed later, actually because he backed. Anyway, just give up that dragon. That 2v4 was not your fight to take, especially when you're already behind in the early game. Even when you're playing a tank, you still have to keep up in levels because that's some of the best. Like, tanks have the best per level scaling in the game. So levels are even more important than on tanks than they are on like a carry. Okay, you need to be aware of this, and your pathing needs to reflect it. Riven doesn't have much of a wave, so you have about 40 seconds at least before top lane is a real emergency. So that's one thing you need to be looking for is, okay, if they're split pushing, if there's a Riven on my base right now, which she's almost on your base, how much of a threat is she? And she's a really high threat because she can 1v1 anyone in the game right now, but she's only got 3 caster minions, so you're kind of safe to get to top lane soon, but it's not an immediate danger. So I think you're doing what I think is the right decision, which is you're going to take Gromp back and then go top. Let's hopefully see that that's what you do this time. No. You're going for a full clear, which is bad. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Okay, you might be able to just walk to top lane faster, and that might be what you're doing. Okay, yeah, so you made the right decision. I like it. That was good. Yeah, I think skipping the red buff there is fine because you know that your team's natural rotation is to go take mid. And obviously there is your kind of new about it, but you might as... Anyway. Ooh, that's nasty. See, that's your 2 failed ganks bot lane. That's what you have to pay for it now. Was that pressure advantage? So Ash and Alistar haven't really quote unquote lost lane, but what they have done is they've lost pressure. And Vayne always gets the push, which means Vayne always gets the roam. And you just missed a ward there, by the way. You should have killed it. So, the Vayne got super far ahead, and she got her one-eyed power spike first. And so she and Karma got a free roam mid, and they got a kill on to Azir, and they got your mid turret. That's your punishment for those 2 failed ganks. So just keep that in mind. That's exactly like the number. Like that's a. So just keep that in mind. It looks like you're trying to... It looks like you're just getting map control, and that's okay. Bot lane is pushed. They're making a play, but you can't get there in time. So I think map control is a good decision to get. Okay, that was a good gank. Your Azir is losing, so it was a 1-4-1, but that was still a good gank to make. Okay, this is also a good scuttle crab. So map control is a good thing right now, and I like that you're getting control over the map. So this is good. Riven just showed up on top of the scuttle crab shrine, so you should be pinging that to your team. Um, here's something that's a problem. You've now got 2,700 gold, which is almost that's like almost Iceborne Gauntlet. It's a shit ton of gold. And Dragon's up in 18 seconds, so you now cannot use that gold, which is a huge problem for this dragon fight that's going to happen. Um, had you skipped Gromp, you could have got 2,500 gold worth of items. So that's, I think that's a whole Thornmail, which is huge on Rammus, or at least it's like Giant's Belt and I don't know. I mean, 2,500 gold is a lot, and you're not letting yourself buy anymore because you took Gromp. So sometimes not taking a camp is the right decision. Basically, your priority is get items before Dragon so that you can fight Dragon. Um, they're just going to kite away from this. I don't see this 3v2 working out. Okay. Let me see why that worked. So he gets a 2-man headbutt pulverize. You powerball in. Ash misses arrow. So the reason that it worked is she ran away from her support. So Karma wasn't there to slow or tether you guys. So Vayne screwed that up, and you were able to reap the reward. So that's good. In my opinion, let me see this Karma. Yeah, this Karma's also dumbass, and she's Q maxing and then QWE, which is literally backwards. You should EQW max as Karma support. So because Karma's got also the wrong skills, if she had Emax, she would have like 28% move speed or something ridiculous, and they could just kite the hell out of you guys. But she didn't. You guys got the gank. Okay, cool. Here's the big problem though. 2,900 gold. I mean, you can take Dragon almost for free because actually it's not. It's going to be a 3v5. Riven, Echo, Azir are all here and all full, and your Alistar is actually that was a really good move of him. If Echo landed that, that would have been really scary. And honestly, this is part of the punishment for not backing earlier, but it's hard to say it was the right call because you got the double kill. Your team was guaranteed to lose this after Dragon fight, and you should have disengaged as quickly as possible. But that's a team call, and that's really hard to make in solo queue. So I think overall the last few minutes decisions haven't been bad, but I don't like some of them. But I think overall you did what you could have. You went for Thornmare third. I think that's okay. You're going for more armor, and I think that's kind of a noob trap on Rammus. Rammus is a tank who scales with armor, but in the end he's still a tank. And they've got Azir Echo, who does a crap load of damage, and a lot of Vayne's damage is true damage that you can't really avoid. So, I'm not sure what item you're going to build with this, but I would have liked to see MR as my third item. You're only sitting on 56 magic resist, and when you pop W, it's 98. I don't think that's enough. Azir does so much damage to tanks that you really need a magic resist as a third item. So I would have gone for probably Spirit Visage as my third item. Now you found that ward after it popped your Wraith. Okay, you get a pick. Here's something I get to preach now. So in solo queue is won by picks. It's won by getting a 4-man versus 5-man and doing something with the pick. That's how you win solo queue. If you watch high elo streams, that's basically what happens. Is they get a pick and then they get something out of it. So you need to decide, what am I going to get from this? You kind of have 3 options. Option 1, you get map control. You don't really have that because Scuttle Shrine is down. Dragon's down, so this Scuttle Shrine is kind of useless, and you don't have wards. So map control is not an option you can get. Option 2 is siege a tower. Where's your AD carry? She is bot lane. So you can't do that. Option number 3 is take an objective. Can't really do that because your ADC's bot lane. So this is kind of a crappy situation, but at least I think what you can do is provide counter pressure for Ashe and Alistar to take a tower. So I think the three of you should ping this turret and say, let's just push this. We don't have to get it because our goal is actually Ashe Alistar to get this, but you need to do something with your pick. A fourth option, if you're an aggressive jungler, is to counter jungle. So if you get a pick on their mid laner, or if you get a pick on their jungler or their mid laner, you're basically saying, I get all 5 of your camps. I guess all 4 of I get all of your camps. I don't know. It's kind of hard to decide what's the best option because you only know where one of their team members are, and that kind of sucks. But ultimately, you need to do something with this kill. And it looks like you're sieging mid, which I think is, like I said, I think it's a good idea because it provides counter pressure for Ashe and Alistar. You're not going to be able to rotate fast enough. And you left him vulnerable to this flank. I think you should have just taken mid. Okay, that was a good tower dive. This is not a good tower dive. That's kind of funny. That Echo build is so shit. He would have killed you if you had like an AP Echo build. Okay, you backed when there's no threats on the map, and Echo's kind of mid sitting here. I mean, he's pushing because that's what he's supposed to be doing. I would have liked to take these 3 camps before backing. It probably would have been enough for you to finish this. It looks like you're going for a dead man's. So maybe not enough, but I don't know. Like, there was no reason to back then and get on the map early. You could have cleared camps and gotten on the map at the same time as your like death respawn timers. Let's fast forward this. You're just clearing camps while the map resets, and that is okay. Okay, this was dumb. So after 20 minutes, Baron is a real threat, and Nazir is like the best mid laner in the game at killing Baron. So their team's Azir comp is really strong with these two. Vayne Azir take down Baron faster than almost any other 2 champions in the game. 3 of you just showed up bottom, which means they need to just kill Baron, and you have no vision up here. You actually have only 1 ward on the whole map, and that's bronze. Actually, you have 2. You've got this lane ward for no goddamn reason, which was your Alistar. He put it. You have 3. These 2 wards are overlapping, and you have this one. You don't have it. You might get this tower, but probably not. They're just gonna get Baron. This was a really bad, really bad positioning mistake for you. So Ashe whiffs the arrow. Watch this. I'm gonna hit F1. Oh, look, their team's too stupid to take Baron. Okay. It's still a bad position. No. Okay, all of that crap happened. I don't even, like, that was kind of just a shit fest. Um, I think the biggest reason for all of that was your team's lack of vision. You had no idea where their team was going to flank, and they got an early kill on the Ashe, which screwed your team's ability to win that team fight. Um, I don't like making those. So, your team, you should realize that your team followed you into that engage way down here. You tried to engage onto Karma, and you need to realize that your team's ability to actually convert on a play isn't very high when Ashe doesn't have arrow. And Ashe screwed up her arrow early in that, and so I don't like forcing plays, especially when I don't know where 3 or 4 of the enemy team is. So I think and this is the other this is the other side of the coin in bronze, and then the enemy team is making all of these bad decision plays, and you guys are getting the cleanup kills. So it goes both ways in bronze, but the ability to climb out basically depends on just like making the right decision more than the enemy team. And I think these last 3 minutes or so have been both teams making the wrong decision. What their team gets from this as a consolation prize is Earth Dragon, like, on the side, because this shitty ass Echo build can at least clear dragons quickly. Okay. At this point in the game, what I would do is I would get vision of. You have 0 map control. Remember I said you kind of have 3 options when you don't know what to do. You can get map control, you can farm, you can gank. And you don't have any map control. Farming on a tank at 28 minutes isn't that important anymore. You've got 3 items, and ultimately what's more important, like, whatever momentum can be built has been built, and now it's just a time where teams fight over Dragon and Baron. And a jungler's job is to get as much momentum in the first 20-25 minutes of the game, and then after that your job is to maintain map control, which means maintain vision, get ward coverage, ward your flanks, ward enough so that you can flank them, and okay, I can't show you the death recap here, but the death recap here is you taking 85% of your health as magic damage, because you've got 2 armor items and only 52 magic resist. This Azir has almost as much. You have probably like 62 at this point. This Azir almost has as much MR as you do. You died there because you have no MR, and you're fighting 2 mages and Vayne. Vayne wasn't doing hardly any damage to you, but the Azir was shredding you. So your itemization there really, really screwed you. And their team has a really nice triple pick for free. Like, they got basically 3 kills for 1. And Vayne's QSS there was adorably cute. She's still gonna kill you guys. Okay, at this point your team has lost so much control. It's going to be really hard to pull this one back. You're like the miracle recovery here. What you could have done in the mid game to avoid getting here was get map control, get vision, get map control, and itemize correctly. You're going for even more armor at this point. You're 4 items deep into your build path and you have no magic resist against an Azir. That's a huge mistake. This is going to be a nice pick if you can convert. Okay, you got a kill on their support. Riven's dead somehow. Oh, you killed her on as she was overcommitting to her split push. Okay, this is classic. I hope you guys take Baron from this. The one thing that would stop you guys from taking Baron is you don't have enough vision. And Yurazir's being a stupid ass retard. He should have been here with Alistar being able to peel for him. God. And you didn't even get Baron. You died before you could smite. That was fucked up by your Azir. He should have been with Alistar. Alistar could heal him a little bit, but more importantly, Alistar can just peel for him. Okay, at this point, you guys have basically lost. So I'm gonna kind of just speed up the next. There's no reason to commentate when you guys are 12k down. Baron, like, there's nothing you can do. Even if you guys defend successfully here. Yeah, okay. I'm basically done because at this point there's nothing you can do really as a jungler other than correctly defend. Your build path still sucks ass. I would not have gone Deadman's third, or I would not have gone Thornmail second. I would have decided which one I like more and had the other one and get a Spirit Visage with it. You need that MR, but that's kind of not the point. So let me sum up this game. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of the Rammus pick in general. Right now, the meta really favors, it favors those like fast farming, really good 1v1 junglers who can really gain control over the mid game. Rammus isn't really one of those, and that's fine. If that's not really your playstyle, that's okay because the meta also really favors just team fighting tanks, just super team fighting tanks, and that's not really Rammus. Rammus is more like a chase you down, isolate a target, find one bad positioning, and like capitalize on it. And Rammus' second strength is he just ganks super hard at level 3 and 4. Because his gank angles are so weird, and most people at level 3 and 4 are not really like looking for this really weird like Rammus gank angle, which is just run at you from any freaking direction. So he could get some cheesy level 3 and 4, but by the time the game progresses, Rammus loses that ability just because people get smart and they put wards farther out. So kind of here's my point. If we're in bot lane trading and I ward this bush, that's not going to really help against Rammus because Rammus can get from this bush to here in like a second and a half because he's just so fast. So supports learn against Rammus. Okay, don't ward this bush. Ward right here. That'll see Rammus. So that my point is Rammus ganks okay. He's a pretty good cheesy ganker, but that's not his main strength because you can just ward differently and overcome that. So his main strength is he's that engagey like pick someone off type of tank. He really needs to get a flank to be effective, and to get a flank you really need vision. And that's just not really something that happens a lot in Bronze. So I don't really like the Rammus pick. If you like the champion, that's okay. And you can climb with any champion. He's definitely good, just not great. The biggest weakness of Rammus is something that I saw in this game. And it's just he is so slow to get going. His level 1 clear is super slow. He clears like 30% slower than anyone else, especially with the wrong runes. And he's so slow to be relevant. By the time you can pull off a level 4 cheesy gank, the other jungler is level 5.5, and he's in your jungle eating up all of your camps. So yeah, you might be able to get a cheesy gank, but you're still going to be behind because you just clear so slow. So I'm just not a huge fan of junglers like Rammus and Zac right now. They both kind of have that same cheesy ganky playstyle tank stuff. They work, and a lot of people like them. That's fine. But realize that weakness and path better to overcome it. Fix your runes to overcome it. Pull off some more cheesy ganks rather than trying to force this weird like 1v2, 2v2 stuff down here. What I would have done in this game is rushed level 3. I probably would have done Gromp, blue, red, and then ganked Riven. As Rammus, you need to decide in the early game what lane will be the most able to camp. The Azir neutral matchup, there's no reason to gank that. They're both such long-range mages. There's no reason to... And they don't have any CC until level 6. So I would have ignored mid, which you did, which was fine. Ashe Alistar, I probably would gank a lot at level 6, because at level 6 Ashe has the arrow. She can arrow from long range, then you can chain it with your taunt, or the other way around. And then Alistar is just in general a freaking beast. So, but level 1, your strat, your idea should be, I'm probably going to gank top as soon as possible, and that's probably what I would have forced. So instead of killing, you went Gromp, blue, wolves, red, and by the time you killed red, you were so low that you barely killed wraiths before backing. But if you went Gromp, blue, red, smited red, you would have been level 3 at red, and you would have probably been like 65-70% HP, which is enough. And then you can just do this like zoom, gank Riven, at least get her flash, probably get a kill. That's what I would have done. That's what Rammus mains would have done. Because so basically, pick Rammus. You need to look at the 3 lanes and look which lane is going to push at level 1. Riven does because she's frickin' Riven. Which lane has the easiest chance of me ganking? Riven, because she's going to be aggressive. So that should have been your plan, and you didn't. You were unable to execute on that because you took wolves, and because I think you have the wrong quintessent runes. So that's the early game. Mid game, there were 2 significant mistakes, and both of those were ganking this 1v2. That really set you up to be behind this game, and that kind of sucks. I did overall like your mid game, which was kind of just get map control. You took some vision shrines, which was nice. You're able to clear your jungle effectively and still provide lane support. So I think your mid game was solid here, but you were just a little bit too far behind to really make an impact, and your team was just a little bit too far behind for you to make an impact. So you stalled the middle game, where if you had gained an advantage early, you could have pushed the mid game with your vision control. And then by the late game, I just think that you made unfavorable fight decisions. You were down here where the whole map was black, and the enemy team should have seen ADC and jungle or bot lane. They both don't have TP. They're both like the 2 most important people against a Baron defend. So they should have taken Baron. They didn't. Okay. You tried to force this fight after Ashe blew her arrow, and that's huge because Rammus only has 1 target CC, and that's, so like, basically your whole team comp depends on Ashe arrow, and if Ashe doesn't have arrow, your team needs to sit around for a minute until it comes back. And I think you made a bad engage because she didn't have arrow, and then that kind of allowed them to, they had a little bit of a lead all game, but it allowed them to really take a hold. And then it was kind of downhill from there. So I hope this was enough feedback. If you love playing Rammus, go ahead and stick with him, because I think he's super fun. I just think that he's kind of weak in the meta right now. And good luck. If you would like another jungle review, please just ask. And